If you run or market a D2C brand and you've ever felt like you're spending on ads, getting some results, but not building anything that compounds, this video is for you. Over the next 20 minutes, I'm going to walk you through a complete 5-phase growth system. Now, I said system, not tactics, not hacks, a complete growth system. It's called PLANT, and every letter stands for one phase of a connected revenue engine. Before we begin, let me quickly introduce myself. I am Sola Mathew. I'm a member of the Chartered Institute of Marketing. I'm a TEDx speaker and the person behind the Plant framework. Here's what I see with almost every D2C brand that comes to me. The product is solid. The team is working hard. The agency is running the ads, and the revenue, it's inconsistent. Some months they are great, some months flat. No reason why. The problem is almost never the creative, it's almost never the platform, and it's almost never the budget. It's that the brand is running campaigns, not a system. And that is what the plant framework fixes. So, for example, you will see the revenue is inconsistent, the CAC is drifting upward, they are testing new creative and audiences, but the problem persists. Sometimes the ROAS looks fine, the bank account, though, tells a different story. And of course, you've tried 3 agencies, but the pattern continues. So you might be wondering, where does this plant framework actually come from? Now, before I built plant framework, I studied plant science, not marketing, not even business. I studied plant science. But guess what? The most important concept I took from the lab is called Lieberg's law of the minimum. A plant growth is determined not by its total resources, but by the scarcest one. The bottleneck, not the abundance. Remove just one nutrient and the plant stores. The other inputs cannot compensate for that. I see this in D2C brands constantly. Great creative, adequate budget, capable team, strong product, stuck at the same revenue level for 14 months or even more. Almost always because one phase of the growth system is absent. And that insight is what became the plant framework. Now, here is the framework in full. 5 phases, they're all connected. P stands for plan. Strategy before spend. Many people kind of spend before they do the strategy, but this phase talks about plan, strategy before spend, clarity before commitment. L stands for launch. Your multi-channel traffic engine. It could be Meta, it could be Google, it could be TikTok, Snapchat, whatever it is, each with a defined role. A stands for acquire, owning the traffic you've already paid for, e.g., email capture, reduce friction, conversion. All right. Nurture, the retention engine, email, SMS, WhatsApp, life cycle flows that generate revenue without additional ad spend. T stands for track, the measurement layer that tells you what is actually working, not what each platform claims is working. These phases connect, they are more like a loop. Each one fixes the next. Every cycle compounds. Now, let's start with P. All right. The P, like I said, is the plan phase. This phase, most brands actually skip this phase, but you don't have to. They go straight from we need more sales to turn up the budget. 3 things this phase establishes. First, who are you actually talking to? Not a demographic range, a specific person with a specific problem buying in a specific context. Second, what is your economic model? What is the maximum you can afford to spend to acquire a new customer? That is your NCCPA selling based on your margin profile. Third, is your measurement infrastructure trustworthy? Verify that every tracking element is firing correctly before you spend. Nail this phase and you reduce wasted spend by roughly 40% before a single ad run. Phase 2, launch. This is the key distinction between running paid media and running paid media system. In a system, each channel has a divine role. Meta brings in new audiences, cold at scale. Google captures the intent those audiences generate. Branded search and non-branded shopping. All right. And then email converts the warm traffic both channels create. Test creative systematically. Build audience architecture from your ICP. Protect your branded search terms from competitors appearing in your own results. The principle is simple. Build a multi-channel engine, not three separate campaigns with three separate ROAS targets. Phase 3, acquire. Here's a number that should reframe how you think about paid media. For every 100 people who click your ad, roughly 97 leave without buying. But guess what? You paid for all 100. The acquire phase is about owing those 97 before they disappear forever, not converting them all immediately, but capturing them into a relationship you control. The mechanism is email capture. An email address capture from a paid visitor costs nothing incremental. You already paid for the click. The benchmark for email capture from paid traffic is 3 to 5%. Most brands are at 0.5% to 2%. The gap between 1% and 4% on 50,000 monthly visitors is 1,500 additional email addresses per month. At a conservative £35 email revenue value per subscriber over 12 months, that gap is worth £50,000 in annual revenue from traffic you already paying for. Phase 4, nurture. This is the phase that most brands have on paper but barely activate. Klaviyo benchmark data shows DTC brands with strong life cycle infrastructure generate 30 to 40% of total revenue from email. Most brands at £1 million to £5 million level sit at just 10 to 15%. The gap is not a creative problem, it is an infrastructure system problem. 6 components: welcome sequence, cart abandonment, post purchase flow, win back campaign, loyalty architecture, UGC engine. Most brands have the first two, that is, the welcome sequence and cart abandonment, but they really have all the 6 components with proper segmentation logic. Build infrastructure, then the second, third, and fourth sale happen without additional spend. Phase 5, track. Now, I need to be direct about something. Most D2C brands are measuring the wrong things, not because they are not analytical, right? But because their measurement framework was built by the platforms they advertise on. After Apple's ATT framework, device level tracking availability collapsed. Platforms filled the gap with mobile conversions. Various benchmark data shows Meta over reports conversions by roughly 26% versus independent analytical tools. The hierarchy that actually works is this. Business level, you want to measure things like MER, okay, marketing efficiency ratio, total Shopify revenue divided by total marketing spend. No platform involved. You want acquisition level, you want to look at NCCPA, new buyer count from Shopify minus from dashboard. All right. Of course, if you are not using Shopify, you can use any of your, e-commerce platform for this measurement. All right. But because most of the DTC brands that I work with, they use Shopify. Growth health. You want to look at NC rate, new customer rate, and CAC trend over 6 months or even up to 1 year, but over 6 months is ideal. Retention, you want to look at email revenue percentage and LTV by channel. That is lifetime value, or some people call it customer lifetime value. Platform ROAS belongs at ad level for creative testing. It does not belong at the top of a business level dashboard. This is what makes planned framework different from a collection of tactics. Each phase connects. So you can see it's more of a loop. Each phase connects and the track phase feeds back into the plan. Meaning every cycle starts with better information than the last. That's what compounding means. The data from TAC informs better targeting in plan. Better targeting produces more efficient acquisition. Better retention improves LTV. Higher LTV means you can afford to spend more in acquisition, creating a competitive moat. One treats each month as a new campaign, the other treats each month as one cycle in a system that gets better every time. I know many people complain about meta tracking post iOS 14, but you guess what? Your meta ROAS didn't drop last year. Your attribution became slightly more honest. After Apple's ATT, just like we discussed earlier, device level tracking identifier availability collapsed from 80% to 27%. Platforms filled the gap with model conversions, that is, statistical estimates of what probably happened rather than confirmed observations. Various benchmark data shows Meta over-reports conversion by approximately 26%. Google over-attributes 15 to 20%. The fix is a measurement hierarchy where top line numbers come from your own data. MER is total Shopify revenue divided by total marketing spend. No platform is involved in this one. NCCPA is paid spend divided by new buyer count from Shopify, not from Meta or Google. Use platform ROAS for what it's actually good for. Testing creative at ad level. Use MER and NCCPA for your business decisions. Maybe you recognize any of this. These are 5 mistakes. I see all of these in almost every brand that comes to me for consultancy. Mistake 1, scaling spend into a broken system. The instinct when ROAS drop is to increase budget for many people. But scaling doesn't fix the system, it reveals the break even faster. Mistake 2, using ROAS as a business level metrics. ROAS belongs at ad level for creative testing. MER and NCCPA belong at the boardroom. Mistake 3, treating email as something to build later. Retention infrastructure doesn't turn on instantly. Build it before you need it. Mistake 4, switching agency instead of fixing the brief. Fix the system first, then brief the agency properly. Mistake 5, testing new creative before clarifying the offer. What I want you to do is this: show your homepage to 5 people who match your ICP. If you get 5 different answers about what you sell, no creative will fix the conversion problem for you. So what does implementation look like? It's a 90-day roadmap, all right? So this 1 to 30, for example, plan and audit, all right, is basically what we call foundation work. Audit the account, define the ICP precisely, set economic guardrails, verify tracking, establish your Shopify-based measurement baseline, all right? This 30 to 60, launch and acquire, all right? Rebuild paid media with clarity the plan phase created for you. Correct branded search, optimize email capture towards the 3 to 5% benchmark, deploy post-purchase flows. Day 60 to 90, nurture and track. Full cycle infrastructure live. This is where LTV by channel are established, CAC trend tracking is live, and critically, the loop closes. The track starts feeding insight back into the plan, setting up the second cycle to be better than the first. After 90 days, compounding begins. Let me make this concrete. A brand comes to me, great product, capable team, adequate budget, but they are stuck for 14 months. The diagnosis I did for them took 3 hours. Email capture rate, the email capture rate was at 0.8%. Benchmark is actually supposed to be 3 to 5%. Their email revenue is 9% of total benchmark, which is 30 to 40%. Their platform reported conversions for 1 month exceeded their actual Shopify orders by 40%. 3 of the 5 planned phases absent or disconnected. Here's what we did. Nothing changed in the ad account for the first 8 weeks. All work was structural. Lifecycle infrastructure, email capture, measurement framework. These were the things that we implemented. 4 months later, email revenue moved from 9% to 23%. NCCPA improved 31%, and their LTV at 90 days increased 2.4 times. Zero additional spend. The budget was always sufficient. It's a system that was broken. Now let's talk about the thresholds that protect your system. 7 guardrails. Set them, review them monthly. They will tell you where to look before a problem becomes expensive. NCCPA ceiling, that is new customer cost per action. NCCPA ceiling, set before the month begins. A breach is not a campaign problem, it's a structural problem. MER floor below 6.5 times, pause scaling. The system needs diagnosis before more budget is added. NC rate floor below 35% of total orders. Paid media is serving existing demand, not generating growth. Meta code frequency selling above 3 times, you are paying to reach people who have already decided not to buy. Google impression share above 60% loss to rank means TROAS targets are unrealistic. Email revenue below 15% is a nurture phase warning. CAC trend, 3 consecutive months of unexplained rise equals to phase audit. You need to audit it before you move forward, not a creative fix. These guardrails give you early warning before a problem becomes expensive. Growth is never accidental. Growth is systematic. That's not a slogan, it's the principle that separates D2C brands that compound from the ones that play too. Plant gives you the structure. 5 phases connected, each cycle more efficient than the previous one. Here are the 3 next steps I want you to take. Step 1, take the free plant revenue audit at solamatthew.com/plant. 5 questions, 8 minutes, and you know exactly which phase needs attention first. I'm also going to put the link in the description below. 2, if you want to implement this plant framework with direct support from me, that is hands-on strategic work with your actual account, I want you to visit solamatthew.com/work-with-me. So that is solamatthew.com work with me, all right? Work with me page. And you're going to see a form there. You just need to fill it and we'll contact you so that we can work together on your account to make sure that these 5 phases are implemented. 3, of course, please connect with me on LinkedIn. I publish frameworks and data-backed insights every week. If this framework has been useful, I want you to drop a comment below. Tell me which phase you're focusing on first. And I want to say thank you so much for watching.